Dave, you still there? Speaking of which.
Oh, yeah.
Hey folks, how's it going? And we have got an impromptu. I don't know if I could get this freaking overlay to go away. There we go. Okay, we've got this. Yeah, it is loud, isn't it? So, impromptu live episode of Kryptonian Chronicles. We are going to do a review, if you don't already know that, of the new Superman movie. We were very excited about this.
I thought we were talking about Nintendo.
No.
What the fuck is this?
So, who do we have in the chat so far? I don't expect a whole lot because, like I said, this is kind of an impromptu thing. But we have Spencer in the chat, and we have Tina in the chat. So, welcome to this live episode of Kryptonian Chronicles, where we discuss the new Superman movie, which we all have our own opinions. But I think you'll enjoy it. And of course, I am wearing my Spider-Man shirt for this impromptu episode.
I have a Hawaiian on.
Okay.
I don't know where I put my Batman shirt. I was gonna wear it and then I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I saw the post you did where you were at the theater wearing your Batman shirt.
I was actually in the car, but yeah.
I actually wore my Superman shirt.
I don't own a Superman shirt.
Okay.
I would have worn a Superman shirt if I owned a Superman shirt, but I don't. So
no, I wore it for the first time I went and saw it, but I did not wear it the second time. So I know, Blue, you've seen it once. I've seen it twice. How many times have you seen it now, Dave?
Twice.
Okay. JD, just once?
Twice.
Okay, cool. I will.
Twice.
Oh, Steve Spawn is in the chat. What's up,
Steve?
Woohoo. All right. So where to begin? Just right off the bat, I know we've discussed this before, but we've been waiting like 2.5 years for this movie. James Gunn announced it in January of 2023.
God, that's insane.
And we just waited so long, and we're so optimistic and hopeful that it didn't suck. And because some of us were just getting off the bad taste of a different Superman movie, which we're not going to talk about on this review.
What was it? I mean, 2.5 years. Is that really a long wait for a big blockbuster superhero film?
Yeah,
or a big blockbuster film in general?
All I'm going to say is 2.5 years for us old guys is not a long time.
Here's my thing.
It felt like a long time for me.
It did feel like a long time for me as well. I am the youngest here, so I will take whatever flack that comes with. But also, I don't think that a movie that's nowhere near release should be announced. I think if it's going to take 2.5 years for you to release a movie, don't announce it until it's closer. That's just, I don't know, it's just annoying.
So that's a good point. In this case specifically, I don't think that was an option.
Probably not.
Why not? Because, The Rock being a doofus. And then on top of that, Henry Cavill comes out and is told that he can say, hey, I'm Superman again. Apparently on the very day that James Gunn and Peter Safran make the deal, and they're like, no, he's not going to be Superman. So, yeah, no, they have to announce something in that case. Generally speaking, I agree. So things, you probably should not announce things too far in advance.
Elder Scrolls. Sorry.
Damn, you're obnoxious, sir.
Elder Scrolls.
So, who knows? Anyway, yeah, there have been too many slates where stuff has been announced and then doesn't happen. So yes, in theory, yes, I agree with you. This case, I think it was fine. And also, we need to be patient because as a society, we become some impatient fucks, and we need to work on that.
Thank you, social media.
Yeah.
Among other things.
Yeah.
Helicopter parents.
Lack of accountability, impatient, narcissistic. Need I say more? Wait. We're talking about Superman. Sorry.
Right. Okay. So to get into the review, just real quick, I would like everybody to give me their overall thoughts. Don't get too specific, but overall, what did you think of the movie, Dave?
I thought it was great. I had a good time. I don't think it is perfect, but I think it is very, very, very good.
Okay. Blue.
I actually think it is the perfect Superman movie and quite possibly my favorite superhero movie of all, including MCU and DC and fucking third party. It is my new favorite superhero movie, if not movie in general.
Wow. Okay. JD.
At first, there were things I very much disliked about it, but since watching it a second time and kind of getting a few explanations, I'm agreeing with Dave on this one. It's a great movie. It's not perfect. I think there's some issues that I have with it. But overall, I think it's a great movie.
Very good. Yes, I think it was great. It was a great movie, great Superman movie. I'm sure there were some flaws. I really can't think of any though.
Mine were more with like, and I talked to you about this, Steve, but yeah, I mean, not specifics, but I'm sure we'll get into that. But
We will get
yeah,
into it.
I some of the storyline choices I didn't care for. So yeah.
I thought it was great.
Mhm.
So, did it meet, exceed, or fall short of expectations? JD.
I was actually worried about it being like too Star-Lordy Guardians of the Galaxy, and it really wasn't. So I guess my initial expectations when I saw the trailer and the teaser, I was like, yeah, was really worried about it. So I guess for me, it exceeded expectations.
Okay. Blue.
I am going to agree with JD on the whole, like, it's James Gunn. He does have this very particular style with Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad. And so I did have a bit of apprehension going into it, but coming out of it, it completely exceeded all of my expectations, positive and negative.
Okay. Dave.
You know, it met my expectations. I went in with exceptionally low expectations. I did feel better when Gunn started talking about the source material he was using, and not that he didn't pull any. This isn't a direct adaptation of anything, but the things that he was using for inspiration, in my opinion, were the right stories to use. So that gave me hope, and just the way he talked about the character also gave me hope. So yeah, it met my expectations.
Very good. Yeah, I went in, cautiously optimistic because, like you, I read things that James Gunn said, and I was like, okay, I think this is going to be a good Superman movie, and so I went in, and I was pleasantly met.
I've always been kind of worried about it because after everything that happened with like Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill, and not so much Zack Snyder but Henry Cavill, that people were so upset that he didn't get to continue playing the character because everybody liked him. They may not have liked the story and the direction, but they liked him. And the fact that they completely went with a new direction, a new story, they're going with a new universe, they're going with a new Superman, all this kind of stuff. And there's always having hard people trying to fit that profile of being Superman. And when that happened, I was like, they're either going to have to knock it out of the park or they're just going to fail tragically. So, yeah.
So
I think they did good with the they stepped it up a notch. They kicked it up a level. So I was pretty impressed with that part of it.
So a squirrel moment here because Spencer mentioned something. Spencer, I am going to go back and reread it again just because of my slightly differing opinions on Grant Morrison. So we'll see if after this next reread I like it more. But we'll get to that. Yeah, I think you're right. I think a lot of people did like Henry. I think he had potential. I think he would have made a good Superman. He just was not given a great direction. But we're not here to talk about the Snyderverse.
I just say that as far as like the controversy is concerned. I figured, this is how it had to happen, and yeah. So
yeah, Spencer says Henry was done dirty.
Yeah,
I can agree with that.
He was.
I think so.
I'm going to blame. Honestly, I'm going to blame The Rock for a lot of that, because before The Rock politicked his way of getting Henry on Black Adam and was trying to take over the reins of DC films, Henry was everyone knew he was basically done. And so yeah, it's Dwayne's fault.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, so
I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Based on your own personal experiences with the comic books, and some of you might have more experience, some of you might have less experience, but based on your own personal experiences with the comic books, did this movie succeed, in your opinion, in telling a good Superman story? And we're going to start with Dave on this one.
I think yes. It's such an interesting conglomeration of elements from different stories. The Kryptonian side of things very specifically pulls from both All-Star Superman and imagery from Superman Birthright. It's all in that, and that's really interesting.
You're talking about with his parents?
Right, with the parents look a lot like Birthright.
Yeah.
So much of everything else in there looks like All-Star Superman. Well, All-Star Superman through the lens of Superman 78. But, yes, I think overall it did a good job. It pulls in elements from both the Silver Age and modern comics. I much prefer the modern take on the character versus the Silver Age take on the character. So that's some of my nitpickiness comes into play with some of that. But yeah, I think overall it succeeded.
Blue?
First of all, it's kind of unfair to bring in experience because I'm literally like at least 2 decades younger than all of you. So I, by
That's
default,
right.
have less experience.
I know for a fact that you have some experience with Superman comics.
That being said,
I also know that there's a certain writer who you basically hate with a fiery passion because of what he did in the Superman comics.
So anyway,
but we're not going to get there. We're not going to go there.
Experience is a anyway. So I'd say of the superheroes that I would say are my top 5, I probably have less experience with Superman, which is saying something because, growing up with dipshit here, I've spent my entire life reading comics.
What the hell, man? What the hell? All right, where's the wrench? I'm kicking you off.
But my point then would be, of all these Superman stories I have read, or maybe not read, but experienced secondhand through you talking about it or reading about it online or something, which isn't a lot. I tend to try and read comics instead of just form opinions based off of fucking Wikipedia or whatever. I'd say that this is
Reddit.
Also Reddit. I spend a decent amount of time on Reddit. I'd say that this is more so than a lot of the other Superman stories is kind of the perfect Superman story. It takes advantage of the characters included in the story to not be a secondary cast, but a supplement to Superman. It brings Superman up by including these other characters, and he already when he already stands so well on his own. I think also that Spencer, just shut the fuck up. Nobody asked you.
Well, he did. He's in the chat room.
I didn't ask him.
Uh-oh, what happened to JD?
Oh.
Keep going.
Anyway, I think that for a Superman story, this is my new favorite Superman story. You may remember this. I for a couple of years there, one of my favorite comic books was Secret Origin. I don't remember what year it came out. I was going to try and say it. But Secret Origin has been one of my favorite, not only Superman stories, but comic books. And this has, for, God, when did we move to Oklahoma?
2010.
Which time?
2010? The time that matters to me. 2010. So since about 2011, one of my favorite stories has been Secret Origin because I had so much, attachment to it. And this has just blown it out of the water. And I actually reread it going into this movie, just in case.
That's bold.
I
completely disagree. But again, it's hard comparing the mediums. And
I mean, yeah.
What about you, Steve?
Now, wait a minute. What do you disagree with?
The fact that the Superman movie is a better Superman story than the comic Superman Secret Origin.
Okay. No. To answer your question, I felt that it was a really good Superman story because it felt like Superman. Like it felt like they took Superman right off the pages and put him in a live action movie. And he stood for, it seemed like to me that many times in the movie, he was very adamant about explaining to the audience, this is what Superman is about, just through certain pieces of dialogue. Several times in the movie, he mentioned roundabout, either directly or indirectly explaining this is what Superman was about. And for those of us that have read Superman comics for a long time, you can tell that James Gunn got it. He understands the character.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And in some ways understands the character better than some comic book writers, but we won't get into that either.
Don't start.
We won't. Okay, let's talk about some of the performances. What did you all think of David Cornsweet as Superman and as Clark Kent? JD.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I think he did a good job. I liked him. And I'll tell you something that's weird about it too is that I didn't know much about him other than from the movie Twisters. So I saw him in that movie. I liked, he was kind of a background character and he was fun, so I was kind of like, well, I don't know much about him, so I don't know how good he's going to do. And in Twisters, I was kind of like, so this dude is kind of the look. I don't know if the look's there. And then when I saw him in the movie and I saw him in the suit and everything, I thought it was pretty cool. And I thought he did a great job as far as acting with both of them. I thought he did really well. And I didn't really realize, and this is why I love to read or to see the interviews of people when they're explaining how they're how they're doing the characters and stuff like that. And there was a couple parts in there where he talked about how he took a lot of inspiration from Christopher Reeve, which I think is great. And he actually wrote personal letters to some of the former Supermans, and he got responses to them about how he should play the role. So he paid respect to those actors who had already been there and had already done that, which I think also shows a lot of respect. And he also had a great explanation for why they brought back the red trunks. And it seems like he kind of played the character, and the character was kind of written in the same way that he explained the bringing back of the red trunks. So when he went through all that, I was kind of like, I like this guy even more now that I've actually talked to him, not that I've talked to him, but now that I've heard him speak about the character and how much passion he had for it, I think I like him even better. So that was great. I think he did a good job.
Good. Dave?
I think he did a very good job. I think that his Clark and his Superman were basically the same person, which to me is pretty important. Because I'm a firm believer that Clark is the identity and Superman is the costume. I wish we'd gotten a little more Clark, honestly, in the film.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, he was good. There's a plot point dealing with Clark and Lois that it's an interesting a dynamic, the way that they are pursuing their relationship in this film and in this universe that is going to get tricky later on, I think. But yeah, I think Cornswet did a very good job. He's not my favorite. And based on our previous time here, I would say he's probably tied for 2 at this point as my favorite.
Okay.
But before I make any definitive, not that it's important, but before I kind of make up my mind on that, I'm going to want to see the movie a few more times, which won't happen until it hits, home video.
It's funny. It's funny that you say that about the dynamic between Clark Kent and Superman, because one of the interviews that I was specifically thinking of when you said that is that in an interview he said he wants to be Clark Kent. He just wants to be that guy. But because of the fact that he has these powers and he has these abilities and he's able to do what he can do, he feels like that he has not necessarily an obligation, but he feels like he has kind of not even a duty. What is it? He kind of feels like he should, because he can, and he feels like he should help people. But really, he just wants to be Clark Kent. So he feels like he's more comfortable as Clark Kent. And I kind of saw that in the movie, that he was more comfortable being him because he didn't have the responsibility of being Superman. But when he puts on the suit and he becomes Superman, now he has this, he has responsibilities and he has things that he has to do. And you can kind of tell that in the dynamic when they did the interview part of it.
Yeah.
When he did the interview with Lois, he's getting frustrated because he feels like he's doing the right thing, but people aren't perceiving it that way. But when he's Clark Kent and he's with her, it's much more simple. It's much more straightforward. He can just be. He doesn't have those obligations and those responsibilities, and you can kind of tell that about him.
Real quick, one thing about that scene that I really appreciate and enjoyed was, and it just shows how comic booky this film is that the part about his conversation with the leader of that country,
Barovia.
Yeah, and how he basically hung him on a cactus. That is one of those things that happens in comics that you don't even think about. That's just, oh yeah, of course the good guy's going to hang the bad guy up on a cactus. Of course it's going to happen. And so seeing that, the way that was portrayed here, and then the pushback, and he's like, what? I didn't hurt the guy. So
I mean, apparently he did shit him or piss himself. So
he only ever said he wouldn't kill people. He never said he wouldn't hurt them.
Yeah.
Pod Racing, welcome to the show, man.
Hey,
welcome.
All right, Blue, what do you think of David Cornswet?
I loved him. I will agree that I wish that there was more Clark in the movie, but I would have to disagree. I think that the distinction, there wasn't a clear line. There were like a lot of similarities between himself as Clark and himself as Superman, but I think the distinctions set them apart. The first time I saw him, you cut to like Clark in a crowd of people running through. For a split second, I didn't even fucking see him. It took me a second to go, okay, there he is, because I
it's the hypno glasses.
Yeah, it's the hypno glasses.
It was the hypno glasses.
It was the hypno glasses.
And go on.
I was just I continue. I had something to say about the Clark Kent.
I think I do agree with what JD was referencing or saying is that he is Clark. Superman is what he has to be to use his powers. He understands that just some dorky guy flying around helping people isn't going to make as much of an impact. And also that he can still make an impact as Clark, even though we didn't see it in this movie, which I would have liked to see more of him at that, like doing Clark shit. But go ahead.
Well, I think that's why the dynamic is kind of the yin and yang between him and Batman, is because Batman is the guy. Batman, or Bruce Wayne wants to be Batman. He wants to be that guy, but he has to be Bruce Wayne in order to throw people off the scent. Where I think Superman wants to be Clark Kent, but he's Superman because he can be and because he feels like he's. I hate to say obligated because he's. Really
I agree. I think it's obligated. I really do feel like he's obligated.
Yeah, I don't. But then again, but then again, the whole movie is about he chooses to be that way.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be that way. He doesn't have to be what his parents wanted him to be. He chooses to be different. He chooses to be something else. So I hate to use the word obligated because he could not do anything at all. He could just not be there, not help. He could just choose not to do anything.
Yeah.
But he kind of feels like that since he has the ability, he can.
Or he could choose to be a dictator.
Or he could choose to be he could choose to be Brightburn.
Yeah.
Yeah, he chooses to be what he is despite what he was meant to do.
I think one of my favorite Clark moments in the movie was him and his dad.
Oh, absolutely.
Like sitting there just chilling on the bench.
Eating cereal.
Eating cereal.
like it's Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah. Watching Krypto aggravate the cows and coming to him for advice, just like, this is my parents aren't, I'm not who I thought I was, and his dad kind of like, well, I mean, you aren't who your parents say you are.
Yeah.
I loved that scene. That might be my favorite moment in the entire movie. The first time I saw the film, I out loud said, I said yes at that moment when, and I can't remember the exact wording. I should have looked up to see if someone's transcribed it, but Pa Kent tells Clark that a parent's job is not to tell their children what to do, but to give them the tools to make fools of themselves.
Right.
And that to me sums up good parenting so much. And having had arguments with my own parents about my kids sometimes, and to which I'm like, they're grown adults, it's their decision. That's something I'm very much believe in. So I think the world would be a whole lot better if we had more Jonathan Kents as fathers, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
If I could put in one thing real quick. So, Blue, you said that you think Clark feels obligated to do this. If I may quote from Superman Secret Origin, issue 6, I want you to stop looking for a great savior. Lex Luthor isn't it. I'm not it. You are. All of you are. I do what I do because I was given a gift, but all of you were given gifts too. Use them to make each other's lives better. Show the world that Metropolis has a heart. He does what he does because he can.
Yeah.
And not because he feels obligated, not or because of responsibility, because it's the right thing to do, and he's just going to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's why I said I hate to use the word obligated, because it makes it feel like it's a duty, and really it's not. It's a choice. He chooses to do so because he's capable of it. And again, I know we're not talking about the whole Zack Snyder thing. I get that. But the cool thing was I love the speech that Jor-El made to Superman in that movie, which was, they will stumble, they will fall, but you're here to help them walk in the light. You're just here to help.
Yeah.
And it seems like it was kind of extended in this one too. It was the same thing.
I did like Jor-El in that movie.
Yeah. And I like the fact that they said that he was, they that kind of thing. And this movie kind of said the same thing. And he even said it in his speech to Lex at the end. I make mistakes. I screw up. But I get out of bed every morning and try And that's what makes me human. That's what makes me part of the human race, is that I get up and I try every time. And it's the same kind of, I like that same theme has been going on throughout the Superman. Is it just, he's going to make mistakes, he's going to screw up, but he's still going to try. He's still going to do it because he chooses to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tina, to answer your question, I'm pretty sure that we will.
Yeah, after what is it? The adoption rate of dogs in foster care went up 500% after the movie came out.
Did it?
But that
That's
was some
awesome.
statistic. Yeah, that was some statistic they put out. They said after the movie, I guess all the kids that went to see the movie said, "We gotta get a dog. We gotta get a dog," and everybody went looking for crypto dogs. But
they're looking for white dogs. Yeah,
they're looking for white dogs. But they said the adoption rate went up like 500%.
That's awesome.
I mean, Crypto should be in the Supergirl movie.
Yeah, I'm thinking because of the source material.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's going to be in it. Okay. Next performance, I want to talk briefly about Rachel Brosnahan. Is that how you pronounce it? What do you think of the Lois Lane, Dave?
She was great. I loved how, and this is just a little thing, and I've never seen her in anything else, so I don't know if her voice is naturally raspy, but that gave a very Margot Kidder vibe. So there was, it felt like probably an unintentional nod back to her. I really liked the performance. She was no nonsense, didn't take any crap from anybody. I love that you saw her, actually doing journalism and doing investigating. I thought she was great. Is she my favorite Lois? No. Probably tied for 2 or maybe 3. But I thought she was great. I look forward to seeing more of her. So yeah.
See, and this is where we differ a little bit. Actually, I think she is my favorite live action Lois. I thought she did an incredible job. She nailed the character, in my opinion. JD.
Yeah, I agree with Steve. She's probably, as far as Lois Lane is concerned, I think she's probably one of my favorites.
Pod Palpatine says, loved how she over-sugared her coffee. I love that.
Yeah.
Tina says she has such sass and spunk.
Yeah. No, as far as like what I would picture a Lois Lane to be like an actual independent, hard-nosed reporter, I think she nailed that part of it great. I mean, the little bit of the thing for me is that like how she, got to the point where she was despaired about the relationship with her and Clark and, that kind of thing. And that was very disappointing to hear that she was to the point where she didn't think it was ever going to work out, even with Superman, and I was like, but like I said, as far as a Lois Lane, I think she's probably one of my favorite Loises.
Yeah. I would say that of the live action Lois Lanes, the closest, in my opinion, to hit it besides her is and my freaking brain fart, I can't think of the actress's name. The one from Tyler Hoechlin,
Superman and Lois.
Yeah, Bitsy Tulloch.
Okay, yeah, I think she hit it. She hit it really well too.
She's probably my favorite.
That makes sense to me. Blue, what's the Lois Lane?
What can I say that hasn't already been said? She's independent. She's not jumping off a building. She's just going off and doing shit herself. Her subplots, like whenever she came back on the screen, I was ready because she every scene she was in was either funny as hell or actually progressed the plot in a meaningful way, as opposed to just like, oh, here's Lois again.
Yeah.
I loved her. I mean, she was fantastic. She actually, I was just about to say, she actually had chemistry with Clark, and that is something that was sorely missing in previous incarnations that we will not mention. I just think that even the actress, when we were watching it, the person I was with was like, "That's Lois Lane," and I was like, what? What do you mean that's Lois Lane? I was because she looks like Lois Lane. I mean, if I picture Lois Lane in my head, that's pretty damn close.
Yeah.
And then she proceeded to act like Lois Lane the entire time. She was
Agreed, Tina.
Yeah, when she
I love that. That haircut
Oh my
should be
God.
against your oath.
the banter back and forth between those two was hilarious.
That was
Man.
fantastic.
It
Yeah.
was great.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
so good with every character. I mean,
Okay.
You know, it is fascinating to think about the live action renditions of these characters in the 21st century. This film is the first one of the motion pictures to actually have Clark and Lois that have real chemistry, that you watch them and you think to yourself, oh yeah, they banged.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, exactly.
So whereas on TV, there's, on Smallville and Superman Lois, the chemistry was off the charts in both of those cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to get to the supporting cast here in a bit, but I've got one more main character I want to talk about, and that was Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor.
He is a
What do you
main
think?
character.
What do you think, Blue?
He is a main character. He's
He
just the
is.
antagonist.
No, that's what I said.
Anyway,
main character.
Anyway. So I loved him. I think most of the laughs I got in this movie was just like him being Lex Luthor. The entire time he's just being a dick for no reason. Like
he has reason.
Well, yeah, okay. But like him like standing starting with like him walking through the Fortress of Solitude and the robots are coming at him and he's just he doesn't give a fuck. Him walking through the Fortress of Solitude was the most Lex Luthor scene ever. Because he knows nothing's going to happen and he doesn't give a fuck.
I would say that he is my second favorite live action Lex Luthor after Michael Rosenbaum.
But the scene where Superman flies in and he's trashing the office looking for crypto, and Lex Luthor goes like, stupid dog in a cape, while taking a sip of his coffee. I laughed my ass off. I was in the theater, like, doubled over with pain in my stomach, because he has no reason to do that.
I thought it was great how he had crypto chasing the squirrels.
And he has the fucking super squirrels. Every moment, he's showing that he is this mega genius, and he's using it to be a dick. And that is the most Lex Luthor thing I can think of. And him like going on the news to trash talk Superman.
Yeah.
He was. I mean, I like Michael Rosenbaum, but he's up there. He may be tied for first.
Dave?
I thought he was great. He was detestable. He showed that even though he is extremely selfish and thinks only about himself, he's also disgustingly insecure about himself, his place in the world. Like, he all but said, I'm mad at Superman because now the world's not looking at me, essentially.
Yeah.
He just, everything about him was just gross. And meaning it's like, okay, I know there are people in the world like this and it's disgusting. There's just nothing redeemable. I love that moment that you mentioned, Blue, where he mutters into his cup and he says, what? I didn't say anything.
What?
I also really liked and it's a terrible moment, but when he's doing the Russian roulette and he shoots the guy in the second shot and he's like, oh, I'm surprised that ended so fast.
Yeah.
The genuine look of shock on his face was great. Yeah, his performance is phenomenal.
Yeah, agreed. JD?
Rest in peace, Gene Hackman. Please don't hate me. But this guy is probably my favorite Lex. I thought he was great. Yeah, I just loved when Superman storms in and throws his desk and he's still sitting there I'm sorry, something wrong?
Oh my God.
But at the end, he shows such passion about, they gave me permission to kill you. You're an alien, blah, blah, blah. And I'm going, and he has these like calm moments, like you said, with the gun, where he's like, oh, that happened faster than I wanted it to.
Oh, what the
And
fuck?
then he has the parts where he's screaming and he just goes back and forth. I'm like, I love this dude. He's great. But I've liked him as an actor, from X-Men and from all the other movies that he's done and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I've always thought he was really good. And the fact that he got a main role as one of the bad villains and then he just knocks it out of the park, to me, I thought it was great.
Who was he in X-Men?
He was
Beast.
Beast.
He was Beast in X-Men.
Oh,
First
In,
class.
I recognize that guy.
first class, Apocalypse.
Okay, sorry. I knew I recognized them from somewhere, and it's
Yeah.
been-
Yeah, well, it's the blue makeup. You can't.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, when they announced him as Lex Luthor, I was like, yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Oh yeah, I think
Okay.
he knocked it out. Like I said, I think he knocked it out of the park. I think
yeah,
he did great.
gusto.
All right, we're going to talk about some quote unquote supporting characters now, and we're going to start with JD. Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner.
Fillion?
That dude.
Fillion?
I think it's
Let me
Fillion.
say
isn't
this.
it?
Let me
No,
say
man.
this.
It's
Let me say
Fillion.
this.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Come on,
Let me
man.
say this.
Nathan.
I have been a fan of his since Firefly. And the fact that they ended that show the way they did, so I've always been a big supporter of his. I always liked the shows that he's been in, like Castle, The Rookie, and all that kind of stuff. And the fact that when they said Guy Gardner was going to be in the movie, the first thing I thought of, and my first introduction to Guy Gardner was The Death of Superman. And I went, seriously? They're bringing that guy in? I'm like, how the hell is that going to work? And then they said he was going to play it. I was like, man, I don't know. Is he going to get that haircut? Is he going to get the jacket? How's he going to turn out? And then I saw him in the thing and I went, oh yeah, he's perfect. It's just crazy how they can take an actor and they can go, that guy's going to play this guy. And you're going, what? And then he knocks it out of the park. And then he does that. And I'm like, yes, because the banter between Lois, him, Mr. Terrific, Superman himself. I mean, I loved it. It just added such a comical element. And then she makes fun of his hair and he goes off on her. I'm sorry, but that added some great funny moments in the movie. So yeah, I loved it. I thought he did great. Dave?
Yeah, I thought he was fantastic. So that the run, JD, that you're talking about from The Death of Superman, that's coming off the heels of the Justice League and Justice League International series, which was the comedy Justice League series, which is absolutely brilliant. And Nathan Fillion embodies that Guy Gardner so beautifully. It is so just, he's so perfect. He's perfect in that.
Welcome to the show, Johnny Dome.
Welcome.
I don't think I've seen you in the chat before. Looking glad to have you on the show. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already.
Oh, and just for the record, the first thing I really ever saw him in was Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. And Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah. All right, Blue.
See, okay.
What do you think of Guy Gardner?
Going into this movie, he is actually one of the things I was least excited about because
it's the chat room. It's the last lantern. You want to help out?
oh Lord,
Yeah.
I mean, he's right.
So like JD, I know Nathan Fillion from Dad talking about Firefly. So when I think of Nathan Fillion, I can't help but think Captain Mal Reynolds. And hearing that Nathan Fillion was going to be Guy Gardner, I was like, no, Nathan is Hal. He's the charming, one.
Hey, Gap.
And then
Welcome back.
so
Hey, Gap.
going in with Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, I actually wasn't excited. And then first scene he's in, immediately flipped. He was hilarious. He was just being a dick the entire time, and I loved it.
The Justice
And then-
Gang. That's their name.
And he's bickering with Mr. Terrific and Hawk Girl, and then the scene with him and Lois where he gets all indignant about his haircut. He's like, what? And him bringing up the oath, like, it's against my oath to get into politics. Like, no, you're just a dick. It was perfect. I loved him, even though I could never have imagined Nathan Fillion wearing that bowl cut. But he was phenomenal. Loved it.
The fact that they went with the bowl cut, given
Oh,
the
they
fact that he's
had
had
to.
different hairstyles, I was like, no way, they're actually going to do the bowl cut from the 90s. I'm like,
Yeah,
you got to
yeah.
be kidding me.
It was-
And they
oh,
actually
man.
did it. I was like, and it made it like funnier than ever. So I thought,
Yeah.
Because he thought the hair was good. That's horrible.
yeah.
He chose
I mean-
the haircut.
In 1990, it was a good haircut.
No. I
In
completely
1990?
disagree. I completely disagree.
I wasn't even there, and I know that's probably not true.
No, I mean, seriously, people, listening to the Charlatans UK and the Soup Dragons, getting your Manchester on, people had that haircut. I'm not lying. It's good shit,
no.
man.
No. I'm not arguing with you, Dave, that they had the haircut. I'm just saying it was not a good haircut.
It was good for the time.
Oh man.
Oh,
Okay. Next quote unquote supporting character I want us to talk about is goddamn Mr. Terrific.
yes.
Dave, what do you think?
Oh, he was a just revelation. He was so good. He was great.
What are they saying in chat?
That haircut made ladies' parts dry.
Oh my god.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, Tina. That's
This is why I love our chat.
yeah. Oh man. Okay, yeah. Continue, Mr. Terrific.
Oh,
Here we are.
I just thought he was great.
Okay, yeah. I felt like he, in some ways, he kind of stole the movie in a good way. He was
I'd
amazing.
agree. He was another character that anytime he was on screen, I was like, hell yeah, let's see this guy again. Because he's I liked the flying rig that he had, where he's just kind of goofily sitting in the air, but he does it with such like confidence that it's like, yeah, dude, ride that stupid device, whatever. The T-spheres looked awesome.
Oh yeah.
And he just had the funniest one-liners, like him and Lois, where she's like venting about Superman, and he just kind of like turns to her, and she like stops, was really funny. The goddamn Mr. Terrific.
Mr.
And
Terrific.
I think the highlight of Mr.
You brought
Terrific.
the dog.
Yep.
I want him to kill my parents' cows.
Can you stop messing around? I'm not messing around.
See, when I saw the trailer, I thought that I would hate that scene, but that was actually, after watching him throughout the movie,
It was really
that was
good.
actually hilarious. Would you stop fooling around? Man, I'm doing important stuff here.
Important stuff
But
here.
I'm glad I saw that in context, because when I saw it initially, I was like, nah, I'm going to hate it. And then after seeing him and the banter and everything going back and forth between the two of them and the other characters, I was like, oh yeah, okay, now that's funny. Now I get it. That's great.
My favorite scene with Terrific was the after credit scene where him and Superman are looking at the crack in the building, and he's like, "Do you want me to take the city apart and put it back?" And like, "No, I'm sorry." Gosh, I can be such a
I agree.
jerk
I agree
sometimes.
with Johnny here.
Oh my god, that's
The
a
garage
really
doors.
good one. Sitting there with the
You got a spaceship.
but you
but
don't
you
have
can't-
I haven't worked
Yeah.
on that yet.
Don't work
Yeah,
on that yet.
that was freaking hilarious.
Every scene with him was just funny or badass. Like the needle drop in the army camp where he's fucking taking all the dudes out.
You know, Gap. Oh, you probably should have mentioned that this is not a spoiler-free review.
Ah,
Sorry,
should
Gab.
Should I
Hey,
go
guys.
see the movie? Have you guys already graded it? We didn't grade it.
Let's do that after we finish talking
I
about
was
the
gonna
character.
say,
Yeah,
let's-
But
yeah.
as far as should you go see the movie? Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
absolutely. Right now.
Even the stuff that we're mentioning, you still have to see it within context of the movie.
Yeah.
You have to see it in order to understand it. Because I mean, we can sit here and tell you about it all day long, but you don't get the actual feel
The
of the movie and
experience is more
everything.
important than the knowledge.
Yeah, the experience of it's going to be way more important. So yeah, I definitely go see it. Sorry, buddy, but yeah, we're
So-
not a
Hey guys,
Sorry.
spoilers ahead.
yeah
What,
spoilers. Sorry.
What do you guys think of Hawk Girl?
Not enough of her.
I'd have to say
Yeah.
we didn't get enough of her to make a good decision on whether she was good or not. I mean,
she was good bouncing off Guy.
yeah, like what we saw of her, I was like, I really wish we would see more of her. But yeah, I wouldn't say they did her dirty. That I just we didn't get enough.
The one good thing though is that when she went after the leader of Bavaria, and she goes, "You Superman wouldn't do this. I'm not Superman," and she just drops him.
Him.
That was great. That was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Here's my
Superman.
question.
Oh shit.
What I would have liked to know from Hawk Girl is what I don't know if we know which one she is, but I'm wondering what lore they're gonna do with the Hawks because we didn't see Hawk Man. So I'm wondering, are they gonna do the weird like altogether lore or Thanagarian lore or what?
We don't
I'm just
know.
curious.
We don't know. I mean,
just let it go. They're just go with it, man.
I'm going with it. I just want to know. It'd just be cool.
okay. Last supporting character we're going to talk about is the character that was the most important of the entire movie,
Crypto.
and that's Krypto.
No Jimmy Olsen?
Oh yeah, come on. We got to talk Jimmy Olsen.
I'm talking about Jimmy.
Okay, we'll talk about Jimmy Olsen, but let's talk about Krypto first. What do you think of
10 out of
Krypto,
10.
Dave?
Oh, I loved him. He was adorable and fun and comedy gold and
The
just
squirrels.
I mean, it was. They did such a good job because I think that dog was all CGI and it looked like an actual dog.
It was?
Yeah,
Shit.
I'm pretty sure.
They said they based him off of a real dog, but they basically scanned the dog and then
damn.
they used him.
it's based off James Gunn's dog.
Yeah.
But I loved the moment when Clark had been taken to the farm, and when he wakes up and Krypto's just laying on him.
Yeah, loved that.
That was great.
Like that. You know, he's kind of a little shit, but he's protecting. You know,
And then then when you see his relationship with his owner, you're like, oh, okay,
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
No boundaries.
When you see his owner, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
there was a quote that was it Superman? Yeah, it was Superman because she's like, "You have a dog." Lois was like, "You have a dog."
It's
It's more of a
foster
foster situation. At that point, I was like, "Oh yeah."
I didn't even think about it. I just thought he didn't want to claim the dog.
Yeah, I didn't
Because
either.
the dog was a dick.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was just he doesn't claim him.
No, okay. I guess I'm the only one. My first thought was, "Oh yeah, it's Supergirl's dog."
Yeah, no. When I saw her, that's when I remembered. Oh yeah, Krypto's her dog.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten that until that point, but it's been a while since I've read that Supergirl book. So,
Yeah. Okay, so Jimmy Olsen, he was great.
Well, you know, I wanted to say something about Krypto real quick. Is that you never have, you know, if you've ever been like a foster person for a dog, or you watch somebody else's dog and it's like something you're not used to dealing with, and it like gets annoying or it pees on your carpet or something like that. The first thing I thought of when I saw Krypto and the things that he was doing, I was like, yeah, that's that annoying dog, except now he has superpowers and he can like punch through walls, and it would be even worse. So, I mean, I was like, yeah, I identify. I understand that. It's like my dog. My dog is a black lab with a we call it the tail of death, because he gets near anything, wags his tail, and he'll knock stuff off the shelves. And I'm like, now imagine that same dog with superpowers. I'm like, there you go.
That's what you want.
Yeah. Okay. Any final thoughts about Krypto the super dog?
No.
Give us a full Crypto movie.
Yes, we need a crypto movie.
Didn't we have one called like Super, like with just pets? Wasn't there one with like?
Not a good one.
Well, I know that wasn't a good
DC
one,
League
but-
of Super Pets. Come on, that movie was great.
It also had Dwayne.
I don't
That's,
like.
That's
I
what it
don't
was.
like
That's
Well-
why it wasn't bad.
I liked it, but okay, yeah, I see that. Okay.
Moving on.
To be fair, I haven't seen it, but Crypto was great. I don't know about a whole crypto movie. I don't know that.
No, I was a joke.
Yeah,
Hey,
maybe like
Smoking Bear.
I don't want to see
You
the entire
remember-
movie.
Do you remember the shorts that the MCU used to do early on, where it would they would be like in the extras on the DVDs and Blu-rays?
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
A crypto short would be perfect.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart
course, I mean-
says crypto is a good superpowered boy that everybody needs in their lives.
If I had a crypto, I think I'd be in the hospital.
Tina says, "I loved when crypto sat on Lois's."
Ah!
That was great.
That was so.
That was pretty good.
I will say, last thought is I agree with Dave. I did love the scene with crypto on the chest, because it kind of like it the entire time I'm like, why is Superman like doing anything with the dog and not just like, because he talked about like an interdimensional zoo or so, like I would not deal with a dog with this much of an asshole, and then having the dog, looking up at him, I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it.
And the part where he grabs a hold of Lex and just throws him around,
Oh,
that was unexpected. That was so unexpected. And then when he did it, I'm like, he's throwing him around like a bath toy. I'm like, hell
Puny
yeah,
God.
dude.
Oh no, another great scene. Crypto, get the toy.
That was so good.
That was great. That was great.
I think out loud I went, of fucking course he can get the toy.
Oh man,
You notice,
Hey,
speaking of which, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but there was a nod to Superman, the original Christopher Reeve Superman 4 in that, right? Because he said how he made the clone. He found a piece of hair and used it to make a clone, which is exactly how they did it in Superman 4. They used a piece of his hair to make a
Nice.
clone.
Yeah.
I have not seen Superman 4 in probably 20 plus years. So,
I
but
think I've
that's
seen
a
it.
nice.
Understandably, because that movie sucked.
But yeah, I thought it was weird that they went, oh yeah, I all the battles you've done and all these kind of things. And in the Superman 4, they actually had a piece of his hair holding up like it was like 10 tons or something like that. And then he goes in with a set of bolt cutters and cuts it, and they send it up into the sun with some materials and different things, and that's how they make the Sun Man, or whatever they called him, the clone. But they said that he told him he did it the same way in this movie, was he used a piece of his hair to make a clone of him to make Ultraman.
Huh.
Gotta love
Smirking
bad
Bear.
science.
He has a hot take. Superman was a good movie, but I like Man of Steel myself more.
You're allowed to be wrong.
Now, here's the thing, though. And Dave and I have had this discussion multiple times. But so, Man of Steel was a good movie. It was. I don't think it was a good Superman movie. It was a good movie.
It's a good Elseworlds movie.
But
And see, my first initial watch of this one, I said the same thing, and I actually texted that to you, Steve. I said it was a great movie, but as far as Superman is concerned, I was I had some problems with the lore, and then when you and I discussed it a little bit better about some of the comics, because I'm more of the TV/movies, but I've looked at a few of the comics like Birthright and The Death of Superman, and some of the old '90s and '80s versions of it, but. When you said that this was actually a version of the comics, I was like, okay, so that's why they did this. Because I didn't like what they had specifically. I didn't like what they did with his Kryptonian or his Earth parents. I didn't care for it.
What did you?
I'll be honest with you.
Can I ask what you didn't like about the parents? The Earth parents.
The Kryptonian
Earth
parents, I didn't like the fact that the Kryptonian, because I remember from Man of Steel and from Marlon Brando and all those characters that played Jor-El, I liked the fact that they said, well, this is our last surviving member. We're going to send him here, and he's going to have powers, but try to be the best person you can.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be better than everybody else. And I like that. But in this movie, his parents turned out to be assholes. And I was like, no, I don't like that. But then but I had never been exposed to that as a more or less, like I said, movie and TV watcher. I had never been exposed to that version of his parents. And then Steve said that was actually a storyline that they had come up with.
And now I don't remember which one it was. What was it, Dave? Was it Man of Steel? Honestly, I'm getting
so in Man of Steel, they were detached and very cold, but they weren't really evil. In Birthright, Lex finds old footage somehow, images of Krypton, and then doctors them to make it look like there's an invasion happening. So there's that. Their parents have certainly come off as dicks before. Marlon Brando's version comes off as a grade A butt face a lot of times. Terrence Stamp's version in Smallville, half the time you think he's a just utter piece of crap. I don't know. And the thing with that, though, is they've left themselves wiggle room. That could be changed later. Super easy. That the linguists, like the footage could be real, but the linguist could have translated it wrong.
Yeah.
Or like,
I mean, that's what I like. Even with Mr. Turvik saying this is right, it couldn't have been doctored. It's Kryptonian language. It's not.
It's going to have a different set of
they're
rules.
not
You're a linguist, but you don't know alien languages.
Yeah.
We can't agree on translations of the Bible, for Pete's sake. So
exactly.
that's an actual Earth language. So and language from another planet. Oh, come on now.
I don't buy it.
Yeah,
son.
Well, and I didn't. And then when I went back and watched it the second time, and then I realized that the whole theme of the thing is that he wasn't a good guy because he was tasked with being a good guy, and he wasn't a bad guy. He chose not to be a bad guy because that's what his parents wanted. The whole theme is he had a choice to go either direction, and he chose the side of good. And it was highly, it was part of the influence of his Earth-like parents. Now, the only thing I didn't like about them is that they seemed very, I hate to use the word like rednecky, but they almost it was almost like they were overly redneck hicky kind of thing.
I thought that was
And
great.
They're Southern.
They're
from Kansas.
I'm from Kansas. I live in Kansas. I'm going. I've met people like that, but but all of the different versions of his parents, from the Christopher Reeve versions of them to up to the Man of Steel and all that. I've always liked the fact that his father was always very upright and very very noble and very help others, and that's where Superman drew his inspiration from. Was his adoptive parents were that's the way they were. And I get that feeling from these parents, but not as strongly as I did from the other ones. I just felt like they were kind of like, yeah, I did. In a way, yes. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm from Kansas. I don't act like that. I've got technology and cell phones in my house, and I don't go, son,
yeah.
which button is it?
Okay, I have talked to people like that at my job. Never discount the fact that there are many, many people that don't understand new technology. It scares them and it freaks them out. And it's, to be fair, none of this stuff is intuitive. So that is fine. One word I heard in an interview or in a review about the parents was it called them yokels. And so I'm kind of with you, JD. I'm a little torn in that I think the what's good about the parents is I think it's actually a very realistic depiction of what life on a farm is like now, especially when it's a family farm, and it looks far more realistic based on the farms I've seen here in Oklahoma. And by the way, if you want to complain about being stereotyped in the media, it's like this whole state saying "hold my beer." Okay, so but
yeah,
the mom I thought was hilarious on the phone, because that's just how many of anyone who's had grandparents or parents who deal with technology and have had those conversations, it was spot on. I do think though,
oh my gosh, you're right. She reminds me of my mom.
There you go. See,
I was going to say.
there is, I think, though, a nobility in Jonathan, in the fact that he had no qualms showing emotions, crying, and showing Clark that there are ways to be a man and have an actual healthy type of masculinity. That is, I think, what was such a good, and I'll even say noble, influence on him. I think I'm going to say this as a fat guy myself, had the actor done that same thing, but looked as good as Bo Duke or Luke Duke or whoever the fuck John Schneider is.
It was Bo.
Bo. Okay. Had it been Bo Duke, we would be having a very different conversation. But it is a very realistic looking, larger man from a farm. And yes, it is. You do feel stereotyped. I totally get that. But there's such a realism in that, I think. And I like that. Again, though, not my favorite of Jonathan Kent's in the film world, but a very, very unique take on the character. And I appreciated that.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, like I said, all the ones that I've seen before, I was kind of like,
it's very different.
Yeah,
very different. Very different.
Yeah, Smirking Bear, we actually mentioned that earlier, but yeah, that's one of our favorite scenes of Clark Kent scenes. Okay, we were going to talk about Jimmy Olsen.
Oh, I love Jimmy Olsen.
Very funny.
I can't believe that one of the major plot points of this fucking movie was that Jimmy Olsen pulls out of his league. It was. Go on.
Was she, though? I mean, given the intelligence level, I really don't think so. She was like ditzy as they come.
It's not just her, though, because the first time we see him, he's sitting at his desk, and there are those girls, two other girls, and they're just going gaga over him. And
he's an average-looking guy.
Yeah.
I said this to my roommate. He looks about as good as me, in my opinion.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that. Blue, you just self-identify with that guy, and you're like, "There's hope for me."
No, absolutely not. I have other deficiencies that
I think. Look, I think it's safe to say that probably everyone in that movie is better looking than all of us combined. It's a Hollywood movie. The dude is attractive, like legitimately, objectively a good-looking guy. Maybe he's packing. We don't know, but the ladies they get the vibe and they like it. But yeah, it was such a hilarious plot point, and it's funny because that's a fun deep pull from the comics. Because in different iterations of the comics, Jimmy Olsen is a ladies' man.
Yeah, he's a chick magnet. As what is that name? Nico said in chat. And
the girl who happens to be Lex
Tina.
That's why I love Tina.
Tina.
She can drop the bombs.
Oh boy.
That's funny.
It was a good plot point.
It was good. Okay. Going away from characters, how does the movie handle Superman's themes of hope, responsibility, truth, and justice? I'll start with Dave.
I think it does a great job. He is an extremely hopeful character. The fact that he saves a freaking squirrel. He stops the kaiju from smushing a dog. And all these little things. And in the scene doing the interview, when he talks about, I'm not representing anyone except myself and, being good.
Yeah.
It's just, that's, I think, the true strength of this movie, aside from the great actors and performances, is the fact that they got that part of the character right. And for all of the talk people have had over the years about Superman being boring and this and that, this is finally, it is in your face. No, this guy's about being kind to each other and taking care of each other. And I thought that was beautiful.
JD?
I really liked the fact that they made him more. I felt like he was more human, or not human. I felt like he. What do I want to say? He had flaws. He had issues. He had things that he was dealing with in his own head and his own mind. Not only with his parents, but just other things with Lois and things like that. And if he felt more grounded, he felt more relatable than some of the other Superman I've ever seen. He felt way more relatable because he had flaws, and the flaws weren't necessarily in his powers or in his abilities or as Superman. It was more up here in his head, and it made it feel like that he was dealing with things that everybody else deals with, and it felt like his things in his head were more holding his powers back rather than some people's powers holding them back or anything like that. And one of my favorite scenes is actually, honestly, after he has the conversation with his dad and he comes back in and the world is splitting and he stops the building from crushing that lady and he's sitting there holding it and then it falls and then he pops up above it and you can see him with the sunlight behind him and his cape flowing. And it's like, okay, now he's Superman. Now he's ready to go. Now he's got his mind right about what's going on and he's ready to be that guy irregardless of what people think about him. He's ready to show people that he's choosing to be good instead of what his purpose may have been by his Kryptonian parents. And so I loved that part. I thought that was great. He was just, it felt like he was back and ready to go after all the problems he had had. And so I just felt like he was more relatable. So yeah, the hope of, even though you have flaws, I still choose to be good. I still choose to get up every morning. I still choose to be a good guy. I still choose to be somebody who helps people despite flaws or negative things about me. I thought that was great. So the whole hope, and then he wanted to save the kaiju. He didn't want to kill the kaiju. He wanted to save the kaiju.
Right.
And he's saving the squirrel. He saved the dog. He wanted to save the kaiju. He wanted to do all that, and at the detriment of actually solving the problem because he was trying to help people and he wasn't solving the issue with the kaiju. And so yeah, all those themes seemed like they were present throughout, and they kind of built up all that. This is what this Superman is about. I'm not flawless, but I choose to be a good guy, and I choose to do the right thing. And I think that was great.
JD, I love that point that you make, and it's something I think that the modern comics have done a much better job of, is showing that Superman and Clark was raised on Earth and is going to be more of a regular human, just with it's almost like someone who is a regular person who just happens to be really good at, I don't know, basketball or chess or something.
Right.
And it is far more logical than the past iterations where no, Superman is perfect and he's this alien guy who's pretending to be human. It's like, well, who actually raised him? Did his Kansas parent?
Did we lose Dave?
Please, or is that me?
I think we lost Dave.
I think we lost Dave. Yep. I think we lost Dave.
Bad time for that to happen.
Anyway, Blue.
Dave. Dave.
Let's give him a second before we move on.
I know that's terrible because it was like right in the middle of a good thought.
Yeah.
I was really interested when he listened to what he had to say. Sorry. Okay. I actually have when we get to it, I have a parallel kind of a. There you are.
There we go. He's back.
There. Okay, he's back. Okay.
He's back.
Okay. Yeah. Finish your thought.
Who raised him?
Yes. Thank you. So, what are the chances of someone from Kansas actually raising their kid to think like someone from another planet? It just makes no logical sense. Now, to be fair, we've also made great leaps and bounds about understanding how the human mind works between, the 30s, the 50s, the 70s, and now. So, but yeah, that was my point.
So here's one thing about understanding Superman / Clark Kent that I noticed in the movie. The fact that when he found out what his Kryptonian parents wanted for him and his reaction to that and how he was like dismayed at the idea speaks volumes to his character. Like, they want me to take over the world. that bothers me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was like he was having a panic attack.
I was actually going to say he retreats into himself, which I can definitely identify it with, because he went quiet. He tried to leave, which shows incredible mastery of mental health. But he very much is. What was the word you used? Dismayed.
Dismayed.
I would have said bewildered. He's very emotional. I think that's the. Did I just hit the X button? No, I'm still here.
Nope, you're good.
Oh, Jesus
No,
fucking Christ.
it affected him on such a level.
Yeah.
That's what I'm just saying. It just
it speaks to his hope. He wanted the message to be one of help people and do good, and the fact that it wasn't shattered that hope for him.
yeah. And then
I
it
think
took,
I
and
don't
then
I
it took
don't
his
think it,
dad to remind him.
Yeah.
and in a lot of ways, I don't even think it really kind of like maybe it did, but it seemed almost like he's like, I had already decided to be this way. I had already
yeah.
decided to help people, and then all of a sudden he finds out his parents had other plans, and he's going, wait a minute, but that's not me. That's not what I want. That's not who I am. And then, like you said, his dad goes, but you can choose to be whatever you want. You don't have to be what they want for you. You don't have to do that.
Right.
Which is why I think he changed the scene in the inside the Fortress of Solitude to his Earth parents. He said, "Mom and Dad from Krypton, no, I'm a Krypton. I'm not doing that. That's not who I am. That's not who I want to be." And he says, "I want to be more like these people." And he puts them up, and he goes through the memories of them.
Yeah. All right. What did you think of the soundtrack?
I had thoughts.
Let's hear them.
So, there's a scene in the movie, or there's a line in the movie that kind of like it was the theme of the movie, and he's talking about yeah, I agree with that, Tina. But he has this line where he's talking about like good and peace and being kind, and he goes, maybe that's the real punk rock, and that is probably my favorite scene. Or at least my favorite line, because that is what the movie is about. And I'm sure we were going to talk about this, and we may still. The idea that everybody kind of switches on him like immediately. They find out his parents wanted him to be evil, and they immediately switch on him. And I got pissed. I was like personally in the movie theater, like, God damn it, don't do that.
Yeah, but was that an unrealistic reaction?
No, it's not, and that's why it pissed me off. Is because people are going to switch up on him despite the good that he's done, and so in a world where the default is someone could be bad, let's treat them like they are. It is pretty counter. It's pretty punk rock to go, no, I'm just gonna be fucking nice. I'm just gonna do good things, whether or not I think you're good or not. Everybody deserves that kindness, whether it's a giant fucking monster destroying Metropolis or a squirrel.
But if you think about it, though, they were kind of going through, because if you look at like what was going on with the Bavaria thing, people already had doubts about his intentions. And then you go into the pocket realm, and there's literally monkeys as trolls, which I think is freaking the most hilarious thing, because James Gunn is poking fun at internet trolls by calling them mindless monkeys. I think is fantastic.
Absolutely.
And so they were down. They were putting out bad stuff about him on the internet. So he had both of those things working against him. So, and it does kind of reflect reality, because you have something that somebody does, and some people, it depends on what part of the internet or what side of the internet is you dwell in, will give you different ideas about different situations. And obviously, like, I'm not going to get political, but if you look at some of the world events that are going on, like I said, depending on what part of the internet you dwell in, you'll have different opinions about what's really going on. And it's not that hard to think that when all of a sudden this huge breaking news comes out that Superman was actually supposed to be a dick, he was actually supposed to be a ruler, he was actually supposed to harem all these women so he could repopulate the earth with Kryptonian people, and blah, 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 blah. It's not hard to think that all of a sudden everybody would, most people would turn on him and say, that makes complete sense. That's why he's doing what he's doing. He's trying to gain our trust and then turn on us at the end. I think it's completely realistic given the political climates of today.
I fully know that is something that would happen. It just pissed me off.
Mhm.
Leave Superman alone, guys. Come on.
Leave Brittany alone.
And then the rage monkeys, the fucking rage monkeys. I cracked up.
It really it's that whole part of the movie is such a what's the word I'm looking for? It's such a stark commentary on where we have what we have become as a society. The fact that it is so hard for en masse people to give each other the benefit of the doubt. The fact that it is so hard to have grace for others, and the fact that it seems like so many people don't assume good intentions. And I mean, how often do you hear from someone, that this person's out to get me, or this situation's out to get me, or whatnot? And having done work in customer service for my entire life, I can tell you that, unequivocally, no one's out to get you, especially no one working, trying to help you. They don't care about you because they're just trying to get through their damn shift, and it is such it's so sad that we've gotten to this point, and I'm not saying this in a back in my day it was better, because that is some absolute bullshit too, that I will go on a rant that's very long, but I will not. So yeah, it's a damning commentary, because the fact that people turned on him like that, with all they had was a headline and just a small snippet of something, and immediately, boom, my opinion of this person that I've been following for the last 3 years, maybe I've even interacted with, is completely different. I'm like, what are we doing? What is happening?
JD, you mentioned that people were already starting to have doubts with the Baravia shit, but it really feels like the actual turnaround was the headline was Lex Luthor coming out and being like, "Oh yeah, he's evil," and I do agree that there probably was doubt, but there's always going to be someone out there going, "This guy's a dick." I don't like.
Well,
this guy.
look at Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Even with all the good deeds that Superman did, everything that he did was trying to save people. He was trying to help people. He was trying to do this. He's trying to do that. And Lex Luthor hated him for it.
Later, Tina.
Later, Tina.
Yeah, Lex Luthor literally hated him for it. And it was because of his self-absorbed, narcissistic personality. And that was Lex's personality. Even though you could be the best guy, you could do everything right. And it reflects from the individual all the way up to like celebrities, and sometimes, I hate to say it, but sometimes politicians. And
Sometimes.
I'm not sometimes. But you as a person, me as an individual, I can go and I can try to be nice to everybody I see. I can do good deeds for people all the time and everybody that I see. But inevitably, somebody out there is going to talk crap about me behind my back, and they're going to hate me for reasons I can't control.
Yeah.
And Superman is no different.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's in the spotlight more makes it even worse, because people see him, and if somebody like Lex is going out there saying bad things about him, the only reason he's doing it is for this, and the only reason he's doing it for that, they can make all kinds of assumptions all day long about what his actual intentions are, but they don't look, and they don't, like Dave said, there's no empathy. There's no ability to look beyond yourself and look at what somebody else might be going through and say that this is why that guy's doing it. There may be other reasons, and we need to examine, not just go, oh, instant judgment. There's something wrong with him.
Yeah, he's evil.
I had a moment.
We can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I had a moment years ago where, and you talk about JD, how you can do all these good things and still someone out there can't stand you. So I was working at this job, and it was at a call center. And at the beginning of the shifts, we would normally have a little meeting, and they would ask this one dude who did all this overtime, hey, what was going on? And one day he's just talking, and he will not shut the fuck up. And it is driving me insane. And I'm literally like going like this. I'm like, oh my God, shut your mouth. Stop talking. Stop talking. And I was doing that for like 5 minutes. And I finally stopped, and I realized, I was like, you know what? For someone else out there, I'm that guy. And it just, I let it go. The dude's still weird as hell. But it's a hard realization, I think, for a lot of people. And when you're presented with, in this case, a character, and in that universe, someone like Superman, who kind of embodies that, where it's I'm going to give people the benefit of the doubt until they give me a reason not to. I'm going to think the best of people. I'm going to try to save everyone. Because think about the battle in the baseball park when he gets to the engineer and he's like, it's not too late. And he's actively trying to save her in that moment. And even, hell, he's even trying to save Lex at the end.
Yeah.
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 No, I fully agree.
I think the other thing about it too, and this is kind of an overall kind of synopsis as far as the deeper, like the deeper parts of the movie for like us, the fact that we, the four of us sitting here talking, and the people in the chat can sit there and go, there are themes in this movie that I can apply in my own life. And like I said, we're primarily a Star Wars channel, but we talk about stuff, and that's something as me as a kid was I took the themes of Star Wars and I put it into my own life and tried to live my own life according to some of those deeper themes, of hope and of peace and justice and helping others. And we're sitting here talking about that and how we can apply those themes in our lives and how they affect us, and say, I resonate with that character because of something that happened to me in my daily life. I think that speaks to the script. I think it speaks to the writing. I think it speaks to the acting of the as a whole in the entire movie. The fact that we can associate those themes in our own lives, and then we carry that and go, that happened to Superman, but it's happened to me in my life in reality, and I'm not a superhero, and I can still resonate, and I can still kind of what do I want to say? I can agree with those themes, or I can agree with what's going on there because I feel the same way. I think that's very telling of the overall impact of the movie itself.
I completely agree. I think when done right and when done really well, Superman is a character that, whether you're reading him or watching him on TV or in the movie theater, makes you feel, unless you're a sociopath, like you want to be a better person just based on having interacted with this other person. That's that kind of inspiration. But the other thing you mentioned, JD, about how these themes are things that touch us and then we turn around and can either implement them in our lives or use them as examples in our lives, it goes to something I've talked about for years, which is this stuff is modern day mythology. This is the folklore for modern times, be it Star Wars, be it comic books, be it Lord of the Rings, whatever. It's our modern mythology. And that's where, so for me personally, I look at comic books, and it sounds silly as all hell, but I look at comics, especially Superman comics, as kind of a sacred text, because there's so much you can get out of it and so much you can learn and glean about just being a good person.
It's the same way I felt when they told the stories of like the Jedi, about truth and justice and being a peacekeeper and things like that. That's something I use as a motivation in my life. And for some people, like you said, for some people it's Star Wars, some people it's Lord of the Rings, some people it's Superman. But when you see, like, for Superman and now Star Wars, or from Star Wars and now Superman and all these different things, we can all draw something from it, like you said, a modern mythology that can be a guidance. And for us older people, we recognize the theme. For the younger crowd, even for, like, and I say younger than blue, so I'm not, younger than blue, like young kids who've seen this movie, that is them, that is us years and years ago when we saw some of these themes and saw some of these movies the first time. It's inspiring a new generation in much the same way. And if we can see it, I'm hoping they can see it, and maybe that'll be the defining moment for some of them to say, I want to be like that. I want to be a good because I choose to be good, not because I have to be, or because the internet or social media is telling me I have to be different. I want to be good because I drag the inspiration from that character. Yeah. And like I said, same thing for me when I saw Star Wars and I saw the Jedi. I was inspired by the Jedi and the Knights of the Knights of the Crusades and the Samurai and stuff like that. And it was all kind of one of those things. And so, yeah.
Hold up. Are you a Templar?
No.
You're not in the Illuminati?
No.
Okay. He's not. Just checking.
No.
Sure about that?
No. When I say Knights of the Crusades, I don't mean Templars. I mean just general,
just the
like Knights in the Middle Ages, that kind of thing.
All right. Well, coming up to the end, let's hear final thoughts on the movie. Anything that you thought about the movie that you didn't get to say already? Let's start with Blue.
And star ratings.
Oh, and star rating. Or do you want to do star or do you want to do grade?
This is your show, man.
Like A, B, C.
I'm a firm believer in the Meltzer scale, so I'm
Of
doing.
course you are.
I'm doing.
What?
It's a wrestling thing.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, 6 in the Tokyo
What,
Dome.
1 out of 5 or 1 out of 10 or what?
1 out of 5.
1 out of what?
5. 1 out of 5.
1 out of 5.
Stars.
Okay,
Okay.
gotcha.
So to
Gotcha.
start, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 5. It is, like I said, my new favorite superhero movie, and I may need to watch it again. It may be my new favorite movie. This movie, this is something that Dad told me that I should mention. Thinking back on this movie, I saw it. What day is it?
Friday.
Sunday. It is
Today's
not
Sunday.
Friday. Okay,
Today is
thank
Sunday.
you.
No, today is
Today's Sunday.
Sunday. You saw it Friday.
I know that's not what the question was. Seeing
Okay.
it 2 days ago, I saw it 2 days ago. Thinking back on that movie this weekend, every time I think about it, I just get a little bit of happiness in my chest because this movie was just that good. That is how much I enjoyed this movie. It has. I'm still getting residual joy from seeing it 72 hours ago, and I cannot remember the last time I felt like that towards something. It has kind of, I want to be a better person because of this movie. I want to, be someone that can go see this movie again and be like, yes, I've changed myself. I didn't forget the day. I didn't forget the day. I never knew the day.
Is that better or worse that you didn't know the day?
That's a...
Yeah, Christopher, we actually talked about that earlier, but
Yeah.
that was when we were talking about crypto. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, this movie makes me want to be a better person. This movie has wrecked the curve for other superhero movies for me. That is how much I love it. And I guess my final thought is I wish I had grown up in a world where we got this instead of Man of Steel. I think that you guys were saying that kids can look at this movie and go, I want to do good for good's sake, as opposed to whatever social media is saying or what they see on TV. And I think that if I had grown up with a movie that genuinely had a message of hope and good instead of snap the neck of whoever inconveniences you, Jesus fucking Christ. I think I would have I think I would have been maybe not a better person, but a much less pessimistic person had I grown up with a much less pessimistic movie.
Wow, that's a fascinating reading of that scene. We'll dissect that some other time.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just full of shit.
I
but
was
yeah.
gonna say when when the bad guy's trying to laser vision an entire
No,
family
I
in
know.
half, I think
I'm-
there's a little bit
hyperbolizing.
different.
Superman still wouldn't have killed him.
hyperbolizing.
I got to say, Superman still wouldn't have killed him. He would have found another way.
A real Superman would have found another way. It was hyperbole to make a point. The
Okay.
point is, I'd rather live in a movie where Superman actually saves everyone.
Exactly, Christopher.
Yeah, I would have rather have grown up with this movie.
Christopher says, Man of Steel was kind of depressing. This is how Superman should be for the modern age.
Amen.
And hearing your opinions, I have. It hasn't really diminished my enjoyment, but I've thought about it a little more, and I still make the judgment that this is my new favorite movie, or
Okay.
new favorite Superman movie, superhero movie. God, I'm struggling. Someone else talk.
Next, JD.
I know we're trying to wrap up, so I'm not going to talk about it now. But I will say this: if everybody gets a chance, please tune in Tuesday. Steve, if you'll remind me, I would like to make a parallel, and probably on Tuesday's Rebel Nerd Radio regular show, that I want to make between this show and Rise of Skywalker. And I'm not going to give any spoilers, but there's an interesting parallel that I want to make a point about. And so tune in Tuesday, and like I said, Steve, you remind me. Tune in Tuesday. And,
I won't
and
remember.
I'll discuss it.
We're going to be
I'll
talking
discuss
about
it further.
video games. So.
I'm gonna try. I know. I'm gonna try to remember to talk about it in before we get to talking about video games. But I do want to make this interesting. I think it's a good. I feel like it's a good observational parallel between the two movies that I want to talk about. But anyway, I think as far as overall rating is concerned, after seeing it a second time, um, I would say I would give it probably I'd give it a five. I'll go ahead and give it a five. I think it was a 5 out of 5. I really do think it was good. Like I said, even though I had a few issues with just some minor parts, or not minor parts, but some issues with the character direction.
Smirking bear. Yes.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But no, like I said, I had a few things about it that I didn't like, but I don't think in retrospect, I don't really think it affected the movie enough to be a detriment to it. So I really would give it a 5 out of 5. Yeah, like I said, like I've said before, I think it resonated. And one of the things that I didn't get a chance to talk about, but I think is kind of a good way to sum it up is one of the key points that they made about the costume in particular was bringing the trunks back, and Michael Cornsweet actually had a very good explanation and a very good dialogue about that.
Who did?
And basic, huh?
David
Who did?
Cornsweet.
David Cornsweet, sorry,
Okay.
David Cornsweet. What he said is that the trunks actually make sense because they felt like the theme in this movie that Superman was not a god. He was not perfect. He was not infallible. And the bringing the shorts back was basically kind of, even though it made some people felt like it made his suit look goofy. That was kind of the thing, is that he didn't want people to take him too seriously and feel like that they couldn't approach him, that he was above them, that his overall personality he was human, and he felt like the shorts, the red shorts made it to where people wouldn't, they say, oh, there's something goofy about him and it's those red shorts, but that makes him more relatable. That makes him more somebody that I can relate to because of that, because he doesn't think he's above everybody else. And after hearing that, I thought, yeah, that's perfect. So yeah, like I said, 5 out of 5. I love the themes. They're great.
Yeah, 5 out of 5 for me. Great movie. Enjoyed it a lot. I'll go see it again. Hopefully sooner than later. Yeah, it's what James Gunn did with the Superman is how I feel about, like Christopher said it earlier, what Superman's supposed to be. Dave?
So I'm going to be the low man here, even though I love the movie. The first time when I originally wrote a review for it, I gave it a 4.25. I think now I would give it a 4.5, even though there were things in watching it this morning that just little things, and I'm being super nitpicky, that bothered me isn't the right word, but just little things that I would have made a different choice here or whatever, which is really insignificant. So Blue, to your point, with your 6 stars. So this is Omega Okada in the Tokyo Dome for you. Look it up. One of the greatest matches of all time. And yeah, the thing about the trunks, JD, I loved that. It's a disarming thing. It's to put people at ease. And that, like you said, that is the absolute best reason for the trunks in the modern age. I mean, we understand why they were there. That's how circus people dressed back in the day, and that's what it was based on, circus strongmen. Yeah, it is an excellent movie. I cannot recommend it enough. Highly go out and see it, and when it is available on demand to purchase or whatever, I'm definitely going to buy it. So I almost pre-ordered it the other day, but I'm broke, so I didn't.
Yeah, I'm a little broke too.
Sideshow's teasing me because they already have Sideshow collectible versions of him and Crypto, and I'm like, I want to buy that so bad because it looks cool, but I'm like, no, I can't.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for hanging out with us in the chat room. I am really surprised we got as many people in the chat room as we did, based on the fact that this was very impromptu. But if you enjoyed Kryptonian Chronicles, we normally do this as a early access for our Patreon. So patrons can check it out before anybody else. But I thought this would be a good way to promote our Patreon, maybe get some more people in that would be interested in seeing some more of our content. We are definitely going to do more Kryptonian Chronicles. Like JD said, our regular show, Rebel Nerd Radio, is Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. Wait, is that right?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Eastern. And so we talk about Star Wars on there, but on our early access Patreon, we have our Patreon, we have our Kryptonian Chronicles, we have our Batcave where we talk about Batman stuff. We got some X-Men stuff we do every once in a while. And then we also have a RPG that we do every once in a while that is exclusive to our patrons. But thanks for everybody joining in. Thanks to Dave, JD, Blue for hanging out, talking Superman with us. And we'll see you again on another episode of Kryptonian Chronicles and hopefully Rebel Nerd Radio. And you have a great day. Later.